Alright guys, the new character Albelda is finally here in the game, and in today's video we are pretty much going to go over best team comps, best build, and of course, is this unit worth investing in? So let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and hop right into the video. Alright, now let's go ahead and take a look at Albelda's kit. So when we read her passive, it says Power of Spirits. At the start of the battle, Albelda applies Power of Spirits to the nearest ally that isn't a summoned being and increases their attack and defense by 80% of her attack and defense. This buff cannot be removed with buff removal skills. If the ally dies, she finds another nearest ally and applies Power Spirits to them. Albelda becomes immune to status effects while applying Power of Spirits. In addition, Albelda cannot be targeted until all allies are dead, but she also cannot use skills if there is no ally with Power of Spirits. So what's really crazy about this passive is the fact that she's able to increase the ally that she's targeting. She's able to increase their attack and defense based off of her own attack and defense. So building a lot of attack and defense on Albelda is really good because she is going to pretty much implement, attack and defense increase to the ally based off of her own stats. And she doesn't target the ally with the highest attack. She targets the ally that is right next to her. So she is not like when it comes to targeting allies with her buffs, she's not similar to Princess Anak. So you want to make sure that whenever using a DPS character, you want to put the DPS unit right next to Albelda. If not, she's going to target another unit. She could target another support character, another tank unit. Make sure that you put a DPS character right next to Albelda so that she can pretty much apply attack and defense buff to that ally. Now for her active skill, Sword of Protection, it says Albelda summons swords for herself and allies with the Power Spirits, which block all enemy attacks 5 times. Sword of Protection lasts for 6 seconds and disappears when the number of blocks is used up. So this is actually cracked because this allows the main DPS unit of your team, let's say Kaiser for example, if she's targeting Kaiser with Sword of Protection, Kaiser is pretty much invincible for 6 seconds, which is insanely cracked. So this skill right here, very, very good. Pretty much increases your main DPS unit's survivability. Now for the last active skill, says Festering Resentment. Albelda deals 450% of her attack as damage near the enemy closest to an ally with Power of Spirits, then locks them for 4 seconds. She then decreases the target's attack and defense by 60% for 8 seconds. So she has attack and defense shred, which is very, very powerful, and she's also able to deal some damage with this active skill. So the fact that she has debuff involved in her kit, very, very powerful. Now last but not least, we have her ultimate, Hopeful Decision. It says Albelda enhances Power of Spirits applied to allies to additionally enhance Power of Spirit stat boost by 150% for 10 seconds. Also removes all debuffs and status effects from the target and grants them invincibility for 3 seconds. Albelda is immune to status effects while using this skill. So the fact that she's able to enhance the Power Spirit buff, which is the passive, she's able to increase that by 150%, is very, very strong. So you're pretty much getting a ton of attack and defense increase thanks to her ultimate. And what's even better is the fact that she is pretty much untargetable. So the enemy, they cannot focus on her. They can't even, they can deal damage. Like if, let's say Flight Eric Mazino or Child and Dorsey, whenever she's going up against an enemy who does AoE attacks, like when Flight Eric Mazino dies, she can still receive damage, but she's just untargetable, which means that the enemy, they're not focusing on Albelda. Very similar to Chamaray Revolution Tier 7. So overall, her kit is extremely stacked. The fact that she has a lot of attack and defense increase, she has attack and defense shred, she has invincibility for the ally that she's targeting. Very stacked kit, and this unit seems very, very powerful. Now for her revolution, for Revolution Tier 4, it says Albelda summons a Sword of Protection on the ally she applies Power Spirits to, then restores their energy by 200. So she pretty much has energy restoration for her Revolution Tier 4. And then for Revolution Tier 5, it says the invincibility duration of Hopeful Decision increases by 1 second and decreases the target's active skill cooldown by 20 seconds. This is insanely cracked because reducing, your allies' active skill cooldown can pretty much allow you to not worry about, cooldown reduction and revolution system. So, the main thing that people always go for in revolution system is the max cooldown reduction. This is very, very strong, but thanks to Albelda's revolution tier 5, if you have this, like, she can literally decrease your allies' active skill cooldown, which is insanely powerful, and is for 20 seconds. Like, this is just insane. So I will say her revolution tier 4, very nice. The fact that she has energy restoration, and her tier 5 is just absolutely crazy. Like, active skill cooldown reduction, insane. Now let's go ahead and check out her exclusive equipment. So for level 1, it says the swiftness of enemies hit by festering resentment decreases by 50 for 8 seconds. And then for level 2, Albelda heals the target ally's HP by 10% every second while the Sword of Protection skill effect is active. So she's also a healer once you get her exclusive equipment level 2. And then for level 3, it says Albelda recovers 500 energy each time an ally with power of spirits defeats an enemy. So whenever the unit that she targets, whenever they defeat an enemy, she recovers 500 energy. That's insanely cracked. And then for level 4, it says Albelda increases the target's swiftness by 50 for 10 seconds when using Hopeful Decision. This buff cannot be removed with buff removal skills. So overall, her exclusive equipment is insanely cracked. I recommend you guys to max out this exclusive equipment because there's a lot of value within this exclusive equipment. So all four, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, very, very powerful. Definitely invest in her exclusive equipment. Now let's go ahead and talk about best build. So this is like the most important part of every single guide video because I'm pretty sure that's what you guys come for, to see how to build these units. So as you guys can see, I have attack speed set on Albelda, and you guys might say, well, why are you putting attack speed set on a support character? Hear me out. So the reason why I'm putting attack speed set on her is because for her passive, she pretty much increases the ally that she's targeting. She increases their attack based off of her own attack and defense. So the more attack you have on Albelda, the more attack she can give the ally. So the best set that's pretty much going to give Albelda a ton of attack is attack speed set. And what's also really good is the fact that she is untargetable. So the fact that she is untargetable and she's able to do long range attacks, she can easily activate the 4-piece set effect, because when we look at the 4-piece set effect, it says if the wielder avoids getting hit for 5 seconds, their attack increases by 50 seconds, by 50%, my apologies, and their attack speed increases by 30 until they are hit. So the fact that she's untargetable, she can easily activate this 4-piece set effect and get that 50% attack increase. So I will say the best initial weapon for Albelda is going to be attack speed set, because she can easily activate the 4-piece set effect and she benefits from that huge attack increase. And if you guys are not comfortable running, attack speed set on Albelda, you can also run a Runda set. Runda set is also really good because, she is a support character. So amplifying your allies, survivability by giving them a barrier, really nice. And I'm pretty sure it also restores energy as well, which is very nice. So Runda set, not a bad option. Zila set, now the thing is, since she is untargetable, I wouldn't recommend you guys to use Zila set because, like, she's just untargetable. Like, the enemy, they're not going to focus on her. So Zila set isn't a bad option, but it shouldn't be your main priority. So if you want, more magic and physical resistance, just so that she can stay alive a lot longer, just in case she gets attacked by, AoE attacks from Flight Eric Masno or Child and Dorsey, or any unit that deals AoE damage, then you can run Zila set. But I feel like attack speed set is just way better because it just allows her to buff the ally that's near her a lot more. So you have attack speed set, which is pretty much the best option. You have Runda set. You also have, Zila set, and you can run like, if you want to focus on increasing your allies' defense, you can also run, if I come down over here, you have Myungo set, you can run this. But I wouldn't do this because you want to focus on increasing your allies' attack so that they can deal more damage. So definitely recommend you guys to choose attack speed set instead. Now for your slot 4 and 5, you want to run magic and physical resistance. Now, if you like, okay, the thing is, since she is untargetable, you can run effect resistance and effect hit so that she can, so she can pretty much avoid debuffs from the enemy, and she can also inflict her debuffs on the enemy. So effect resistance and effect hit isn't a bad option, but I decide to run physical and magic resistance just in case, she receives some AoE damage and should be able to survive it. Now, when it comes to substats, I will say the top substats that you want to focus on for Albelda is attack, magic and physical resistance, and you also want to get defense so that she can pretty much increase, the allies' attack and defense a lot more. And at the same time, she also has great survivability. But you can also run attack, defense, and effect resistance and effect hit so that she can avoid debuffs, and at the same time, she can land her debuffs on the enemy. So those are like the top stats, like the top substats. And of course, when it comes to other stats in like Tri-Essence Facility, you have accuracy, evasion, swiftness, so many important stats to focus on. But I will say when it comes to ignition weapon stats, definitely want to focus on that attack, defense, magic, physical resistance, and affected and effect resistance. They're also pretty good. Now, when it comes to team comps, good news is Albelda is a universal support unit, so you don't have to worry about putting her in a red element team only. She works in any team. So this team right here, I've been enjoying this team a lot because Albelda pretty much focuses on buffing Trauma Ray. And then the fact that she's buffing Trauma Ray, and I'm pretty sure Kunadan has the highest attack. So Princess Anak is actually buffing Kunadan. So you pretty much have two support characters who are buffing two DPS characters, which is really good. And of course, Taken Dorsey is there to pretty much shred enemies' magic resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and replay this for you guys. But this team, I've been enjoying this team a lot. Like the fact that Kunadan is able to reduce the enemy's magic resistance, I think by like 80% when you get his Revolution tier 5 is absolutely insane. Paired up with Trauma Ray, he's able to completely one-tap that enemy. So this team, very, very good. And this pretty much just shows that Albelda, like her value in these teams is just so good. Like she's just insanely broken to the point where you can put her in any team. And as long as she's able to, stay alive and buff the ally with the highest attack, she pretty much did her job. Like you guys can pretty much see the invincibility stacks. She died right there because of that AoE attack. So gusting is also a weakness to Albelda. Pretty much every single time Albelda goes up against an enemy who does AoE damage, she can die. So you definitely want to watch out for that. But you guys can see right here, we literally won this fight and the damage was just crazy. Like Trauma Ray literally dealt around like 440 billion damage and Kunadan 296. Completely mind-blowing. Now, another great unit to pair up with Albelda is Gia Gia. Gia Gia is actually crazy with her because of her passive. So when you take a look at Gia Gia's passive, it says she increases the attack of red element allies by 32% at the start of the battle. And if you get her Revolution tier 4, you can increase it by 80%. So Gia Gia is pretty much going to, increase Albelda's attack by a lot. And that's pretty much going to benefit the unit that Albelda is targeting because she's going to increase their attack a lot more. So we're going to go ahead and enter this fight right here. Now Gia Gia, she might die because of Daddy Uric. Like he literally one shots at this deficit, but let's see what happens. All right, here we go. So Gia Gia, there's a chance that she is going to die here, but as long as she's able to provide that additional attack, like Trauma Ray is going to deal insane damage. Like look at this, 1 billion damage per tick. Like that is insanely cracked. So if you guys have, your Gia Gia, like if you guys invested in Gia Gia, definitely try her out with Albelda. She is insane with Albelda because of that attack increase. Like, this is just completely crazy. So definitely use Gia with Albelda. If you're trying to run a red team, you can put, if we proceed this fight right here, you can put a Jinsung. Let me go ahead and take out Chamaray. You can put in Jinsung. You can put in Evankel. Let me go ahead and take out Endorsi. You can put in Awakened Rack right here. And then you can also, you can pretty much use this team. Like, this team is actually really good. Or you can put in units like Vile. Vile is actually really, really strong with Albelda. I mean, Albelda is literally strong with any unit. Like, she makes every single unit in the game very powerful. So she pretty much works in any team comp, just like Princess Anak. Insanely powerful support unit. Now, how many copies do you need on her in order for her to work? So, as you guys can see, my Belda is 1 purple star. I was really lucky after I did my summit video, I got a lot more copies on her. But I didn't even use the trial event yet because she's literally amazing with low dupes, which is absolutely crazy. So if you are a free-to-play player, I definitely recommend you guys to get this unit because she works perfectly fine with low dupes. Like, I have her at 1 purple star. I don't even have her revolution tier 4 and 5, and she's just crazy. Like, she's just absolutely mind-blowing. So this unit, free to play friendly, she pretty much works as 0 dupes, but I recommend you guys to get at least 1 green star on her because you can pretty much increase the attack and defense for her by a lot. Like, I'm pretty sure with 1 red star you get like 100%. Like, that's actually really good. So definitely want to get at least 1 green star so that you can increase your passive, so that you can pretty much increase the attack and defense buff for the ally that she's targeting. But other than that, this unit very free to play friendly, and by far I will say she is definitely like one of the strongest support units in the game. Is she stronger than Princess Anak in terms of energy regeneration? Princess Anak is a lot, more efficient with the energy regeneration. But when it comes to buffing, Albelda is definitely like the best buffing unit in the game because she's untargetable. Her ultimate amplifies the attack and defense buff, which is crazy. But like 100, I'm pretty sure with 3 red stars, it reaches to like I think 200%. She's insane. Like, this unit is absolutely broken. So definitely recommend you guys to get this character. She is powerful. Plus, she's also very, very good in boss battle. Like, if you come over here to the underground laboratory, you can use Albelda against Data Zahard, Kuna Dawn. You can use her against any boss because she is untargetable and she applies debuffs to bosses. Like, when we look at her 1 debuff skill, it says she decreases the target's attack and defense by 60%. So this makes her very, very good against bosses. Like, this unit is just cracked. So overall, my impressions on this character, I feel like she is absolutely broken. And I will say one flaw with Albelda is that she doesn't target the unit with the highest attack. So you have to put her literally right next to your main DPS unit. If you don't, she's just going to target any random unit that's close to her. So you want to make sure, if I come back over here to adventure mode, when it comes to your formations, you want to make sure that you always put her in the back row because she always targets the main DPS unit who is literally right next to her in the back row. If you put her up top right here, she is not going to target the unit that's in the back row. She's only going to target the unit that's literally right next to her in the front row. So she's pretty much going to target Endorsi. So always put her next to a DPS character. If you want to put her next to a tank unit so that they can get that additional defense, go ahead. But I highly recommend you guys to always put her with a DPS unit so that she can buff their damage. So always put her next to DPS character. If not, her buff is just going to go someplace else, and you don't want that to happen. So that's pretty much Albelda. Very powerful support unit, and by far the most free-to-play friendly SSR plus support unit in the game so far. Besides, I will say Evan is like purely focused on healing, but Albelda, she's purely focused on buffing. So I will say when it comes to buff support units, she is definitely like the top free-to-play friendly buff support character in the game, and she is indeed part of the meta. Like, this is definitely a meta unit. Very powerful. But Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it. And I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.